Honorable Akwabana apom to say.
Nyame adumo.
Bibi ekoyi.
Yes, wadum.
Constituency boko.
Bibi adedi.
Ya da nyame ase. Communications Ministry so.
Me chia munni mwetiefu nyina. I'm say afie we ni first time.
Yeah, first time ne.
First
time.
Nti mamu nyina afisia pan
so. Afepa pan commentary. Afisi say na
yeto aso. Afisi say na yeto aso. Yeto ayeduma pan so. Na President Akufo-Addo a hand over ama President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Na edibe bosome.
Yeah, na edibe bosome.
Bosome ne kakra. Nti na yeguso a ye we sure say by then na fe na ohye na ban.
Yeah.
Nti na yeto ayeduma pa no. Eso.
Ba wo hwe petetakra mu a is it likely to be to win election way?
Agrone form. Inti.
The job day grounds.
Me and Crofo did me say why no who ballot box on social media. When was it about Facebook and Instagram and
polling station.
Thank you. Agrone form. Do assembly aka okwansam no ho no. Enye dede. Ni die no kwa chidi anka Peter Obi ono ne president wa Nigeria. Enti ya yonto yebo kakra. Na agrone form. Edwuma nso so de. Na Akufo-Addo aban waye bi pa. Omo a omo anyam mfaso no nso so wo Ghana ha no nso so omuni. Omo refi nso ye bekai wo.
Baba, you've heard the claim say Nana-Addo will go down as the worst president of Ghana and I won't say.
Say Kwame Nkrumah time no so ye kan sa afa no ho. President Akufo-Addo ye kan sa afa no ho. Enti yebehwe how posterity will judge him. But I am confident say ebana yeba bekeri edwuma waye ne de toto amampani ahoro a omo etwem kone omo bana. He will go down in history as one of the best performing presidents in every sector. Edwuma de yaye bi pa. Na to de bia umo edwuma waye no hu dawura. Na nkrofo kan bi go so na we nya obi obeka bi amawa na we nyi anu ntema. Na sa wrong impression no ato nipeti.
Ato amanfo train.
But even a week in politics is a long time. So afena TSC. Afewe whatever misimpression has been caused no will be cured. Free SHS beneficiaries omo ha. Omo anango omo ni akwan ya ye omo akwan no omo ha. Omo anu mu ni adwuma ya ye adwuma amonya bi ye no omo omemu ha ye omo ko ba bia. Omo a omo apomu den nsem ya hwe ni aka no so omo ha. Ye nko ba bia. Enyinam kane anso omo anu mu ni bia Ewrade adom enam aban ye adwuma pa ya ye nti omo so enya nyinam kane no omo wo memu ha ye omo nko ba bia. Abefo nhihye ya ye nso so a ede ahoto eni nkanko ni yidie abre empuntu nyuma ne ankrankra ewo memu ha ne yen a yenya mu mfaso ne nyina ye wa ya edru akuntabu obire na ye abato dana eni niama ahoro a ya ye nso so a ye mmoso omo nya mu mfaso ne nyina ne omo busuafo nyina nso so omo yom kokromuti bekasa enti ma ya ye kasa Ghana fo yeninkaye but ye wonkaye umu refi so a ye bekai wo.
But indeed the claim say ahokyere wo man yi mu aban yi amess up, and you hear more opponent make that point. Former President Mahama Aka, communicators of his party Aka, national executive of his party Aka, say you've messed up this country, and that's why Omainu Ihias Ubi Obabe press it restart button. So near say BBS for fraud. You've heard that.
Nampacha wo omo ankansa ankade no be on campaign. Akokwa sachira kroma enye ne fe. Etuom hwena no kra they can never admit say aben ayade. Wom say insikasem no, and in fact la 2023
yes
we had some very, very challenging times. A year fallout from
yes
near we are seeing fane nyina eko mu.
Sure.
and ne evidence abeto ho say UK economy echo into recession last year. Ne cheso musika sem no anko ye last year. Japan so sa. America, the worst recession in about the worst economic output in about 40 years and inflation in about 40 years. Enti Ghana yenye island. Nye me koso wiase afa na nyina. Yen so ehun sunsanso no ebi beka yen. Enti gise wan kasa ubwa pase unyintum because of wan kasa ne opese wuye ene ne opese wukentia. Na se wuka no krepa na we are aware of near koso amanonia ubeji atum se Ekufu-Addo aban ayade se yinsika sem ahokyere wiase afa na nyina ko mumpo no Ghana at least yetumi twia adwumayefo ka every month ye na sumu nhihye bi e de ba afoforo te se free SHS yetumi twetwa ho aka yes nya ni nyina na yetumi ayede Arias ne bi wom ankakra ye ne ye firi ho no mo enti se mampani dada John Mahama tumi ko amanone ekoye nhyiamu wo ho agitum se covid ni Russia Ukraine edi yenya ewo memu ha aka insika samma na obaga na ha na obesesa na no se aban yete so na mismanage economy na Ghana fo na ha na be judge ne se na ntu de baby a ogina bia usunko ugina ha usunko oba efie nsoso a usunko nti ne ehe ene yanyintum it goes to his own credibility na ya nsentrefo no nsoso NDC fo kasa na mutie won sa mu mesebisa won questions
na question ben na say omo make the point say yes, we acknowledge say there was a global pandemic. We acknowledge say Russia-Ukraine war but say aban we no yini ho free all forms of blame. Just munji blame bia for some wrongs you might have done.
Dr. Baumia ya ne lecture no. Ode yen modern boy fi 2017 bepem 2019
yes.
Obia ma me challenge ne say ne okan ye no. Obwa economic indicators or the two dwani na niema ekoyie ema yen wa ban mu okan pefe obi ama me challenge ne se ne okan ye no obwa tie ne sesaye. What was the intervening factor e ne ba ye ntia niema na ekoso wano ma ban nyina yi ma memu ni nyina no na afi ase yatia wo hwe mu ansoso a eye covid any Russia Ukraine. Those were the only two intervening factors about assisa the trajectory and ye was so for growth no. And if we are honest with ourselves, ye be admit say ampa MPP aban ye ba aban mu no. Na nhyehyɛ na ye no eboa na mpuntuo no ye koso bibia na dedin kakran na tokora NDC for the ye nkohye mu no. Na ye yi ye ho afiri mu enkakran mpuntuo no ekoso wano kopim se sa atonrenkyem yi ebeto wiase afa na nyina yentumi nkansa ye de ne esi wa manone no ebi enka yen ewo omemu ha enti wo ka se ya nye boni bia ya nya mfunso bia and also maybe a few things may have gone wrong but enka affect yen sikasem to that extent into cancer mismanagement in Tinia was at TBM.
And for example, they cite the Auditor General's report on how we spent on COVID. And that report showed that clearly, we mismanaged Sika. Oh, you've not seen the report?
You tell me, give me an example of
for example, the Auditor General makes the point, says some payments were made for drugs. Drugs na mami do. The Auditor General makes the point, say some hospital equipment, and they was say omuko or private person be hospital, mu Madina or baby. Those were things on record in the report.
Now, in the heat of the moment,
yes.
Na ubia prese or pay COVID vaccine.
Sure.
Say I was so go tria. O dibi to ase ansana aba. Enti these things would happen. Na enunti Enna enhyehyɛ ye eboa amanfo nyina during the COVID time.
Yes.
Yanye ni yana. There will be one or two isolated incidents, but that's what they are. nhyehyɛ a yɛyɛ wɔ covid mu nyinaa ne nyinaa ɛyɛ kɛtɛasehye ne prɔyɛ ɛyɛ I disagree with that. Enti mesre ya yɛn nso so ha yɛni ɛnkeka nsɛm no maybe amanyɔsɛm nti you can pardon them, but yɛn etiefoɔ ne nso a yɛyɛ Ghanafoɔ no yɛn hu sɛ ɔmo amanyɔsɛm ɛna ɔmo yɛ ɔmo ka ne ɔmo feel so ɔmo ka ɛbɛtɔ nipa asum a ɛbɛboa wɔn campaign nyɛ ne nyinaa na ɛyɛ nokorɛ no because ebi etu ɔmo ani tua sɛsɛn ɛna asɛm ne sitie so yɛkyia no to achieve a particular objective for political expediency nyɛ ne nyinaa na ɛboa ɔman yi enti me de me nsɛm no mɛsrɛ sɛ muti a mo interrogate nyɛ sɛ NDC ni betra ha ka ne tra saa na yɛn nso so yɛagye ne saa nso na MPP ni nso betra se na ɔka na mo feel sɛ ɛwɔ sɛ mo bisa ne mu nsɛm a by all means go ahead and do that but at the end of the day yɛbɛ carry nneɛma pa Akufo-Addo aban ayɛ ɛne nneɛma a yɛ feel sɛ ɛtɔ ɔkyema na yɛn hu sɛ on the balance wo de toto ne ɔpɛ so wɔ saa bɛyi amamuo ho a hwan na wayɛ ade asen ne mfɔfoɔ no aka no and I am confident sɛ yes assessment na Akufo-Addo will come up tops. John Mahama amamuo no wo de toto Akufo-Addo amamuo a ɛmɛhu baabi akora
but if you because Akufo-Addo will not be on the ballot in December
a record and a
campaign I get that
and a mampeni abedi echire Bawumia nso so ne vision going forward and a bakery but record ne de Akufo-Addo Bawumia aban adwuma a waye no eno ne de betoto Mills Mahama aban because ata John Mahama na opa baby nyo be foforo one day enim no deda.
Yeah, but you realize the NDC is making the campaign about the credibility of the flag bearers, Ninti Bawumia and John Mahama. When we put them both to that credibility test now, mo flag bearer obenya and nine generation.
Me pacho, Dr. Bawumia, why the president will member?
Debbie.
Inti, what's the basis of that comparison? What dear why am Peninda? What's not a community muda? Ye de on memo na se wonse muda. Say ye ni enhwe. Would ye mfie no mfie nsia kura na ubedi ye nye mfie nan. For one time. Enti niema wo ye ya edi Ghana fo nya no ye kai pa. Se bi no nso hwe afia e be kai wo. Dr. Bawumia de said you see kan ye no. Oye mampeni abedi akire. We should never forget that fact. So what's the basis of the comparison? Oye mampeni abedi echire now as we speak. Adwuma no yɛnyam fanhye ne nsa so onye. Enti record a yɛde ekono ne mampeni a oboa no amamuo no adwuma. Eni ono nso so ani suade hu a owo a ɔse ɔbɛyɛ bi ade aka ho. Na me John Mahama de ne de me de me koko crowd assessing him as a potential flag bearer. Omo yire won ho ase ye be whitewash no. Na ye wire fi Ford Kanazoe Ford.
And no ye den.
Say mampeni abedi akire at the time akwaje bribe Ford expedition every contractor ewo Burkina Faso.
No say Shraj ka say enye bribe. Omo ka say he only breached the gift policy.
Gift?
Yes, gift policy of the country. That's what the Shraj report said.
Minya hu sa Shraj report no. De minim ni se okoje bribe. Ana amajaro nsoso hwana nsoso. Eno nsoso ensem koko company bi eno nsoso semsem bi baaye. Eno nsoso ne hu ebom mu. Yeti nsoso Attorney General at the time can say mampeni dada Mills. The committee say yanhwehwe ne abedi akire anamonto bi otu yefa aeroplane bi anka ye kwa akoto ewo Embraer ewo Brazil no. And to who if for want of anything as an individual crap no and to my yapamwe frau no and to asumu mo asusu mo penso so na and confirm ye de ebe ewo omemu ha na me de tunyu na say ya men kai me dada na me say my born again nti me pesa me nkosa tibia nim bio asofoton jida DMBO suba sada jida and some media cho maybe Mr. Ghana for better yabunya kai mu ni nyina wo kroya all of these were at your watch or under your watch in addition to being government official number 1 I know so Airbus ayekwa akoto no unua ehu agimu ebon mu a eno so sika bi yiran system na mem kanisa na wode eno etoto Dr. Baumia ho a ye bisa no eno kra na me nwa bisa say waje bribe da na obisa say as a human being yes na human beings na je bribes na and punching na je bribes and as a human being as what nka ye misa as na ye bisa say wo John Mahama waje bribe na obisa say John Mahama as what as a human being nanka as what meaning in which other iterations are nipa etumi eje bribe answer ye de pem no to me answer enonko wa memuomu na ye de sumo for 4 years nipa dwuma esey ya amanfo ko ahohiahia mu se 12 hours kra went to me amankane nyina so am ya anya adwuma 24 hours na abetumi ese kwatrekwa e kan so obema ontuma tie ni din enti nsam ne de me na mama hapo se mba beka sa nsam no ho ansam.
Yeah, I agree, but once the list of corruption scandals so say Neutie Sami Jemfi press conference now. Yeah, he also mentioned some scandals Dr. Baumia. He mentions, for example, the PDS deal. Say
Dr. Baumia
Parliament
had nothing to do with PDS.
Hold on. Or say Parliament took a decision. Say conditions precedent was a company in the fulfill na ba kon bank guarantee was so modeba. The NDC alleges say there was a meeting at Dr. Baumia Suomotu say that condition precedent or any condition subsequent, and in fact or signs to change bank guarantee to an insurance guarantee.
In which capacity and Dr. Baumia is?
I don't know. As Vice President of the Republic,
no
obviously.
Such meeting ever took place anyway.
Really?
And no yan tro NDC for to go and futura NDC for to almost 5 minutes of the meeting Emrani.
That said meeting
1 more 5 minutes of any such meeting no Emra Metudwa any omo no mo meeting na se Emra Metudwa na yenhwe meeting biasa ensi babia
and you are saying this on authority
biasa ensi
because I'm not too sure say maybe how can meeting so how do you say this
say when your first time omo aka
okay
enti e bisem say anyenye bia Dr. Baumia etna PDS meeting bi eche ya na bibia he's never done any such thing ti daben na yes a meeting yes a meeting for na wo ho our issues are order no minutes of that meeting e wo he nyasa wo beka ne tra sa ne aso age atum say o bibisa esiye bosremka ntwato so de krofoi omo ye ho omo bo ho modern pa ewu. Until we should take everything that they say with a pinch of salt and go the extra mile to interrogate it.
And have you also found out the other point about more containers be as somebody in his office at the letter ekokoje mono he's under investigation by the OSP but still working in the office. Head of administration.
Dr. Baumia.
No, but we are office.
He wasn't acting on Dr. Baumia's instructions.
That I don't know.
Me na wo mo ka meeting me mintie mo asembia wo na wo ka meeting me bi sepsa.
Yeah, the NDC alleged that.
Me was a monso so mu bisa. Say if it's an allegation say an individual yenyi krom ha say na obi kwafa letterhead bi wo castle at the time. Etro letter bi I think it was Alhaji Bamba office no be kofa letter
Mokhtar Bamba I remember
obi kofa letterhead be a control near maybe at the time when investigations were done it was concluded said he had nothing to do with it nana yeah yensusu ha yani enke kansem engu nipa ho efi for political expediency. So onipa bi and in what Dr. Bamia office is under investigations. Mommy and Chanyanfa report Nemrani who's ampa. Bibi says ye. None who will moana or no ena a ye edifuana. A sutri be abeba na yashe amasa sutri naba na ye a report bejutra edge agino. Now wajinu who way in who na ni who so wana. Na oka se enunti Dr. Bamia e bonibia. And ye make say ya omo ye ni wonti efie kra na ye makra pokoye niema nya so obi akwa akodi na aduane na me sin ene ba befim. Let us all be responsible for our actions as adults. Inti say obi won the office aye boni bi mpo a yen hwe say at the end of the day assembly betudwa na ye pensen mu na determine clearly say wa ye boni a asotwe bi e wo say ye de ema no ye hwe de emfa ma no. Yes, na nyese obeka na odi agu nipa ne ho fi na at the end of the day ya kan say bibia sense na afi na be pacho ana so ye de.
But because oye Mr. Dr. Baumia mo candidate mo flag bearer no, you've also heard the point about say oka nioma onye nti say oyobi a onka no kra nti e magana fo believe nsema a oka ene ade
e dey no kan ya wanye.
Oh, na say nansan no unti say
wo na wo kan na me tie ne wo kan na me ma hu wae e dey na waka wanye.
And for example, one of the things the NDC cite say he's on record to have said say by the almost first term in office no village in Ghana would have a toilet or a water problem. That has not happened, for example.
But you one time premium.
Yes, but I don't know.
NHI is what is say NDC for
one time premium.
Yes. One time premium.
Yes.
To me.
No.
And no NDC ni be can be a can say your trophy. So it means they don't have any credibility. They cannot say anything at all. Omo manifesto promises ni nara no mutu me. John Mahama ne campaign 2016 2012 was said 2016 omo ko Western region ko can say 10% of all oil proceeds omo the Bema Western region NDC abai e can say 10% of sika bia enye free fan go mu no omo the Bema Western region for what is say omo ye bibisa during their time in office ana. And if that is some person you caught sa line na almost so you were whole dossier of near Momokaya went to me anye. Accra will be the cleanest city in 100 days. Yeah, if you don't want to me.
Some call the cleanest city in Africa.
Thank you. And you may be who feels that ube to me aye. But when you are faced with the reality now, it was all modified on your money and you do your best. Ube you don't worry, say ube to me attack a problem now. Maybe call me ministry, but I am a DC man, me what to do list. Then you know, met to me aye. But me ever kwa ni ateke aye. Nyeni na on to me nyeni na. Tisomo babe can say promises are politicians went to me fulfilled no. Say no near de babe judge one credibility dear and your mom come we fairly put all. Come momu nya and no crema mejina Ghana fu enim and can be bia enchre. Because one candidate no. Ko
John Mahama.
Ow. Na ye behave to say the animal no. I say bibi fufuro bi new entity bia ye ne no eba be sign. Would you track record?
I'm sorry, the nation builder and our record to show why he's the nation builder.
Ofa, I mean, can Dr. Bamia wants some wine. Mem young cosa line, or a mignon copa, or a mini party. Mem, I mean, conco kikenka, ni hunsim bia ewaha. Former President Mahama, Mema o Sisi maha.
Yeah, maha. Say, I feel now about a more 4 in the, I think still but minim say more confidence of winning this election no what can say in Juma Myers, and I believe so ministry and so no I can't hear about ministry about share over the past 7 years, right? Why minister no what you have to show for the Ghanaian people. But I mean clear Newman Bakumi no being free. Number one, what's the situation with Vodafone? Because when say Ghana, 30% shares, Vodafone. It is saying, Telcel, but what's the situation?
Vodafone, Ghana with 30% shares.
Yes.
Yedan wa kita yen 30%, yen ton mu ba konkra. Vodafone for normal say, almost restructure after COVID in some ni be eba ye no. Almost say Africa ha. Omu jai omu adwuma no dodo na ewo Africa ha.
Okay.
Inti Ghana operations nso eka ho. Sana Tigo nso so can say they are pulling out of Africa completely. Airtel nso so Airtel company no conglomerate nankasa enso consolidate one operations inti omo nso so say omu free Ghana. Inti Vodafone say omu free ha. So omo was 70% shares. Omo say omo beton. And omo bebo mampeni amani. Em say 2020. Early 2021.
Okay.
And mampeni say we had high hopes senka. Money yen beye juma wa ha for the long haul. Inti ene ya. Say omo kodi and omo adwin said ombekwa ontumi nsi won kwan. Ono no de na dwapade no se oton nti yenso ye hwe won omo fa won transaction advisor ekoye won pensen mu enya omo pese omo to settle on ne omo be choose ni nyina mu na ye bisa for updates because ne ebe ha company no adwumaye no nsusu no ebe ha yenso yen shareholders ne be yen 30%. Tie wom edru baby a omo de won baaye no yese omo business plan ne ade no ye ne nyi ho papa na ase
Ghana rejected sa
ase NCA
okay
ase omo emfin esu akakra na plans no omo won nso so ye ni areshem so mbetumi ediso nti omo nsan enko no man nya aton ama won awi
okay
ena yenso so ye ka sese mo ba de a adwuma na wo se mo ye na edi mu enti yenso so niema omo hia regulatory approval for transfer of shares
sure
yen to me nsi mo kwan se ma mo nton mo shares na mo ton de a e wo se yenso so ne oba no emma NCA ehu se adwuma no obetumi aye ama etumpon ama edi mu na aban ne nso so kakra wa ewo mu no anko ye kwa nti omo ne won di sankita ho na to some extent na omo satisfy won say enhyehyɛ na omo aye no ombetumi ebetumi aboa ma company no anyi etumpon
yes
ana omo ma won approval prior to that ni mo no say company be a majority and minority shareholders ewo ho opese wo ton wo shares na oma o partner no the right of
first refusal yeah
into omo bi say Ghana say ye pese ye ton in shares no na mo beto ana ye ne empanimfo nso so edi insawoso ewo ho because me nkwa me ntumi ntra me dem nka say I me pe na me nyayanka ejimu because that was my preference see ye beje ne de aka etel ho nanso me ne me mpanimfo eye mpensen na wo say ye nso so ye hwe na ye tutu niema ye with banks, their suppliers and all of that. Now we share 2023 and among na baby ana Ghana jina no it ended up with us going to IMF near the na finance minister president almost say let them go. Oh, enya dia Ghana be to me at all.
The option of taking over 70%, you know, but was it that expensive? Na you're saying, do we know? No more to am I saying? $100 million, $200 million.
Enya nkomo ni na me to me they gave us say ojitum say obeto a na only one bet na say na one negotiate. along the terms of offer now. You have to be able to match that same offer. I don't have the details correctly, but there was also tria for the use of the brand interparty nemanya bia omoye Emma won. There was a utria na ope alternatives be Emma won. Bank loans are omo agege so. There was a Oma banks the satisfaction say ubetumi atria as and when it falls due or not. At that time now so enana debt exchange debt restructuring no. Bank men akwa kujina na nim say I'm taking on this additional responsibility ntinya gidie wo me say despite the fact say debt restructuring I can take on this additional responsibility. Inti sane many nyina impending for tenancy susu hu no mo kan say let it go. We'll hold on to.
O company for you mean cabinet.
Mampeni ene finance minister. Na me ne won edi sankomo. And we decided say yenyai ma company no enko. And you ton wa de I say me mean to me su kwan. And omo akoton ama Telecel. Me say ye humpo say omo ba be ye rebranding bi. I believe omo ma 1 year for to use omo brand
we know. Okay.
Yasu we say dinti na omo ye branding. Tinya Ghana na ton 30%. And 30% ne die. Kofi o, ama o, kwesi o, ene beje Vodafone die no ye di ikura. Yen 30% no. To omo.
But what it means in so say NCA for now satisfied with what Telecel edited how they want to manage and run the company, right?
Sir, as at the time omo approval they were satisfied so to me I'm managing company no na enyi etumpon even better than the state in which they're taking it off because they had a business plan and their own projections. Omo comfort letters from the banks I just say omo ne won ashe negotiations asia omo agiatum say on very restructure won loans no to the company and all of that. So they did all of that. Into Ghana, one, we didn't take up the right of exercise our right of first refusal. Two, the NCA had no serious reason to obey rejected application or request for approval for transfer of their shares. No, and really, meaning what the issue is about.
No, the issue. What I've heard some CSO say, and they say it was Sankeko Parliament. This whole agreement should have gone to Parliament.
Which one? The share sale by Vodafone. We refi say time now. Yen Ghana, your 100% shares now. Yeah, ton ama Vodafone. A totally different scenario from when you ton amano, and also a ton ama obi fufro. Enti emu niehi and a Parliament. A war in Tahumbia ombedi after transaction.
Yes, so maybe the status quo now near Ghana Vodafone. It didn't see a 30% no. You need Vodafone our partner in the running company no. If there is a new entity coming in, you don't think Parliament should be aware?
Where in the law does it say so? Say obiato ne shares. Now minority shareholder. Now tonwa. We hear parliamentary approval.
Yeah, but that transaction no
the
consequence.
No, the transaction is not by the government of Ghana.
Sure, I agree.
It is by the government of Ghana's partner.
Partner, yes.
Ono susu ekita ono any rights. Wa akwa sa shares no as of rights. Parliament apene say yanton 70%.
70%.
Into waton enso waton wa wadwapade no. Into we need dan ho adi akire. Anya wo de abio. You don't own that 70%. So you can't dictate the terms on which that 70% is transferred. It doesn't work that way. Waton wo dan. Amobi. Otim watremu kakra. O se ono nso so ton amobi foforo. O se mempene. Na dan no na eye media. Enti wo pese oton mo be foforo dia e wo se obabe je me penny answer. Where does it work that way? Minyante ne penny semda. Intimate ensem de bi omo kana. Na e masum na se omo feel say yen 30% na ye ton wana said ya ton wana said di. Eno de eda ho obi afa ne sankan. Now questions I ebe to me ebisa ne se mo fufuro ya mo be. Ediem anamontuo bi na mo ba be fufuro na mo ba be tu a ebe boa ama yeja ade ya yenso so ye dwapade kakra wo mi etumpon ama yenso ye nyamfaso ewo yen 30% no eso. That's a legitimate question to ask. How are they managing the company to enhance shareholder value for both minority and majority shareholders? And no do bisa udi bisa. Na men kan kire me se me wo medwapade me ton waton ama me agi hu sika edi awie agi won faso nyina edi awie na me ton ama obi dia me hia wo permission ana me hia wo approval ansa na maton ma kire emremu steps are na was omu eteki to give effect to such transaction omu hia regulatory approval NCA omu ko ho omu nya sa approval no senka na yenso so ye ne je ho se ye beto a omu de ma yense meton wo beto ana yesi da bi ye nto into de ye obenya ma na to bia utumi ton ma no omu si yo mi das wenye obi waton ama no afi yenso so ayetenche ne se ade na waton wajapade na ma asemesi ana obenti. It doesn't work that way.
And do you think the regulatory approval, no, when the NCA was seized with everything about this new company, now in here said the Parliament of Ghana would be aware. Say my approval, say assume me take over 70% of Vodafone, which relationship would impact your shares in that same company? We wanna make kind. A bit about Telecel. Also, Telecel is an Africa-focused telecommunication service provider and a leader in digital service. Our goal is to enhance business opportunities and contribute to a digitally empowered Africa. Into like an African telecommunications company. And no strength, no value, or more experience, any BBR. Can you compare it to that of Vodafone? And you think if say the Parliament of Ghana ma approve, I'll say for 70% ma Vodafone. Now Vodafone ton am a different company. The Parliament of Ghana should not be interested or should not be aware what is happening.
So Vodafone say or the shares no che. Obi keke. Ejuma no nyebio. On tom or the cha. You don't have any right to question sa decision na on we taking. Into say a African company, say a American company, a Indian company. It's neither here nor there. Omo went through what the processes which satisfied them. Omo ye omo for transactions advisors,
sure.
Echo through the whole due diligence process. Echo ye mhwehwemu bi e wo se omo ye. Efa company na omo ton amano.
Yes.
Minye ni se omo na eye Telecel nkwa na express interest in it. So they had options to choose from.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, based on omo ankasa assessment omo ye, they settled on
a Telecel.
A Telecel. What's the basis on which the Parliament of Ghana would have an interest in interrogating this transaction and giving prior approval to it? Monchra me say emrane say ansa na be to me aton wo shares na what every year no e was say odeba parliament monchra me baby a emra no e kansa na men kan say oh okay me yemfum so na men kan say obi ti baby no na dream e ye ne say e was say eba parliament nti e was say eba parliament. I'm sorry senka ya ban no na e ton yen shares
30% na
ena o see it was said ebebisa representatives of the people no ye je won pene ansane atonwa. Maybe that one I can understand. Now we wenya aton odwapade am obi wo de ko e kika ko be 20 years ndi mfaso obenya wataftafe ho a e ka obebo ho abon ka ni ode be ye no ode aye awie na o se afedie me tonwa see hey there be me na me ton ma wo enti me nso me wo interest omo ye adwuma wo Ghana enti me nso me wo interest. Parliament at any point in time through the committee ebetumi abisa Vodafone Ghana say BB ekoso omontiase enti omma mechire wo mu as part of their oversight. They have every right to do that. In fact, 8th March mene won kwa kodi nkomo efa sa Vodafone Telecel transaction. They have every right to ask me any question about it. But say Vodafone any hu kwan say omobeton one shares be parliament was say oma won pinie ansana omatumi aton one shares na de any yemra mu babia. And I challenge anyone who's saying that to point to any law which says they need the prior approval of parliament to dispose of the shares that they've acquired in any company in Ghana.
How about the Airtel and Suni Tigo? And where are we now with that? Because I mean, him say, Abai intervening in that, no?
Also, concern. They're hanging in there.
But government expressed interest, say you be take you over that company, no?
No.
So, in what's happening with them?
Oh, that's not coming about time, yeah, dear.
Them drew stage be in the negotiation. And I because say, that issue came, say, you turned for just $1, I can't growing concern and all of that. Where are we now? And then the question, and I'm sir.
They are operating as a going concern. So I want to say, they're looking at alternatives to refinance the company into Omugusu. Abai and Ton Etel Emma Obia. Abai and Ton Etel. Into Anos Matisen and Rium say a Ton Etel fine because Yanton. They've entered into a joint venture partnership
with Tigo.
No. With a UK firm.
Okay.
Hanam Investments. They've entered into a joint venture partnership. And no interest yaton company. Nature say it's say Airtel 80.
Yes.
80 ewo ho. Ena wakwa hwehwe partner on any beye adwuma bi ewo omodwuma kuo ni, which is also allowed. Because advance you ni sika o de beba be hye modwuma ni nti mo hwe kwan a mo be fa so a mo benya sika e de aye modwuma no.
Yes.
So they've entered into that partnership, joint venture partnership enye seal. Ti misre omo ne na makeke kan say aton ne nso so no say yenton ye. Joint venture partnership no edi partner no edi sika beba be share company nim. Omo equipment omo hia foforo.
Yes.
Omo was omo ye in hyehyɛ ebeboa na omo adwuma no nso so edim. Omo ni 4G omo hia. Ni nyina ye significant investment I was say omo ye. So literally sa joint venture partner yi ebeboa ama omo aye sa hyehyɛ ni nyina. Na emom enkomo no ye ni wie conditions precedent the bema sa joint venture partnership yi aye effective no. Omo wie.
Okay.
Inti until say ebe wie ni mean si me bo enka say omo ne won ewie nhyehyɛ ni nti da sei no mo be hye adwuma no ase. Inti that is where they are currently.
And that is workers are Airtel workers are no 80 now still have their job.
They are still working. What is say you obi edi wo no omo mpeso omo ja adwuma ne de omo agya ko omo peso omo ye adwuma no omo te ho omo da ho aye adwuma ko wo sesi abe hu se omo aye adwuma obi wo network ne so a network no wo fra enkwa na. It's still a good, they are still working. AT exists, it's serving its subscribers, but it is looking to grow its subscriber base. It needs to revamp its equipment and introduce new ones. It sought a partner on any bekabo nomni na ye say juma. Nama 80 juma no etumpo.
Yeah. The other thing your ministry generally, me try the communications ministry, because I say more campaign going into 2024 no centered largely on the digitalization agenda. How
That's
critical? Oh, I say only largely because Utie flag bearer speech our best 60% of that speech was on digitalization, no?
Not because your campaign no is centered largely on it, but because of how pivotal it is. You hear digitalization for your my impunto. And it is the main means to revitalize your economy. There are other sectors which are equally important. But go ushe baby we are say air corner. E was say unya nimdiani and iswadi hu ewum because yet me any year it solves multiple problems. Unemployment, improves efficiencies, promotes optimum delivery of services, revenue generation, reduces corruption, and enhances transparency in all sectors. Baby, enti obia o weni swade hu bia a odwen hwe kan ne nim se saade e wo se ye ma ye ni ekohu na nhihye bia ye bia ye hyemu ekina na ewo ebenya mfaso dodo ama ye man nyina daachi. And you have to start now. And we need to put in place the building blocks to enable us to hackneyed phrase here usually frog. But no cre. And in ye to me a within such short space of time ye. 8 years ye ba bemwi. Niama ye to me a no et hosu bebre. Na aboa ye kwan bebre so as we take it for granted. Because ayade ayaya anti yenhu said yesi sumbo emaye.
Yes.
Mi bisaw se ne uja wo phone wo fie a ubetumi aba adwuma ba ye adwuma a wo mfi wo phone nana.
Untimi. You will definitely go back.
Absolutely not. Na dia na wo phone ne nsunsun ti a wo hia se kwan bia so e wo nchen no. Wo di dwa wo so. Wo bo nkomo wo so. Wo office e wo so. Wo check wo messages e wo so.
Wo emails.
Wo emails nyina e wo so. Wo ye wo banking financial transactions e wo so. Enti eni wo ho a amongst others wo ye man so la e wo so wa. Ono yere so din komo e wo so. Wo bisa se de o ma enso so enhote.
Yes.
And ye omo musua de ne nso so. Enra me baby o ka tell me so here tablet na ana laptop na am so de den na o say o ye ne assignments e wo phone so nti o here bigger screen na am say adan na wo de phone na yes sir. Enti wo di tablet ne laptop nso so wo phone na wo di sua de o ye research sisi a eti we me bo Telecel din say wakwa check ehu.
Yeah.
Telecel ni soon ne ban ne who your research e was so. Enti it is such a pivotal tool say eye aban bia obeba asede say oye nhyehyeye a ebema saa abefo ententan anamontuo ya yetuo edimo. So going forward say ya pomodin say ya desua say ye kuayo say ye dwadie say ye industrialization you can say
infidi juma
munsam entertainment agudie hunsam sports ninyinara ohia digital tools na aboawo ama watumi aye enti will be foolhardy si ebe yeni every so na yemma yenya nhyehyɛ ya ebe hyemu ekena enunti eka ho bi nti na 60% of ne lecture ni na was focused on it. If you say ya ye edwuma son in that sector.
Do you feel as minister say your record of achievement no somebody has taken it away from you?
Na go for be say me say me ntiase.
Ade na wontiase. A legitimate question to ask, no?
achievements. Why buying na me ye mu adwuma.
Enye nanado aban.
Ekufuado. Na be di akire eye baumia.
Sure.
Na omo apone wondi bie no ho adwuma no ntumi nye ni nyina. Enti oma responsibility. Wa delegate that responsibility no amame. Na o supervise. Enti adwuma bi amaye no nye esla na aye. Eye Kufuado aban na aye. I don't take the credit for the work that I've done in that sector. I'm proud. Send me so. When who send me to me aye adwuma ni bi a wa frɛ me sɛ me ma me boa no adwuma Ghana for to abama no.
Yes.
Say omwa ya memu.
Asempa FM.
And na wa pone ho kakra ama esla se hwe haso emma me. Ti me hwe so ama Ekufuado baomia. Ti baomia kan se yaye se nnwuma in the digital sector. Odika. I don't see why we should be so territorial about it. Adwuma bia ye in this government no. We're doing it on behalf of the President of the Republic and his Vice President. Any credit which should inure to anybody should go to them. Be it roads, health, education, energy, trade, tourism, sanitation, whatever. Digitalization. Eyo omo aban. Eno acheche mo nkitin wa kan say wo hwe ha. Wonso hwe ha, wonso hwe ha. Enye wo adwuma na wo ye. Wo ye ono na adwuma ama no. So we should see ourselves as their agents, and they are the principals. And so they have every right to take the credit for Jumebia ye in every sector of this government.
One thing Anna me pesa me clarify we are Minister of Communications and Digitalization. For digitalization to thrive, you need a digital infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Your opponents have said, sir, in all of these successes in the digitalization space, that's a credit or more deserve more for amount because they built that digital infrastructure more juma fiber optic NITA data center more build Accra Digital Center, all of those things were done by them. But more the recognition they deserve. I say everything digitalization Baumio, what Mahama has done, you are not recognizing it.
Did Mahama give Kufuor any credit in the digitalization agenda and the whatever he's supposed to have done?
But what did Kufuor do?
It's a continuum. Rawlings and started telecoms liberalization.
Yes.
He liberalized the telecom space.
Yes.
And started this whole work. Kufuor and a creative ICT for accelerated development policy, which we are still using today.
Okay.
Obia up till now takes its roots from ICT for accelerated development policy na President Kufuor Juma to date was passed in 2008 under President Kufuor. Electronic Communications Act, Electronic Transactions Act, you name it, which form the foundation, legal and regulatory framework Juma. NCIA, NCACCR, President Kufuor Mra, and Omode Juma. NITA, CCR, President Kufuor Mra, and Omode Juma. Governance is a continuum. The first thing, and was as I say, the first thing I'm a year official reception I'm a year. Me frame a predecessor.
Sure.
More by. Emma be dana say. For Juma Wayama Ghana bang. The government of Ghana. And I'm a train say me here ne muebia. So we talk. We communicate. Me here ne muebia. Dr. Manebwama. Me here ne muebia. I won't hesitate to ask. I would want my successor to also do same for me. Yes. Omobetu Ghana project under the World Bank, which also did a lot of work, which helped us to do the legal and regulatory framework and a lot of the foundations. Omobetu me MOD Jumano, and also a share e-transform project. I say yeba ebe sisemu restructure enya additional funding e de kan ho for our own niema na yenso ye pese and also so aboa.
Yes.
Omo ye Eastern Corridor fiber. Ye ba beto ye no. Na several kilometers of it.
And on my year.
Pacho omo ye 1,010
kilometers.
1,010 kilometers.
Okay.
From Ho to wherever it ended. Ye baye and ye be connected from Ho to data center, Accra data center. That was done under my watch. From Ho to the Accra data center and was connected under this government.
And that in terms of kilometers, I was saying Ho to whatever. Okay.
Me, I don't even know how many kilometers that is. But no na ema ye to me access international satellite cable capacity nyina ye to me akosuro ndi wa anya no na etosi kakra. But it's something which needed to be done. Whole sections of it omo amberi omo antu form ama na nko form ye ama na to me anye to the acceptable limit no.
Yes.
Ye baba tutu ni nyina sasiesie ni nyina ebio.
Really?
I'm telling you, and the records are there.
At an extra cost?
At additional cost. Me more contractor needing. Well known Ghanaian contractor bi omude adwumane man. But on one kasa me
additionally bear saying
me I can get the figures for you. At additional cost, ya baba ye because baby aneda no ebi densuom ebi tete assassin any into fiber cuts de bubruja. But essence say aban na nkasa akoboka akogye sa facility no amaya ye a ebeye aban adwapade.
Yes.
To me nkasa nya wa ban na ye ntu behwe amana say that's not my style. And whatever needed to be fixed no, we fixed it. And then we put it under different management. And ne omo who uses our service omo hu say tumpon 1,010 kilometers and omo ye, which is useful for opening up that section.
That section.
But
the total kilometers of fiber optic layers on mine, you're saying?
Me see one project pe
yes.
E-government network.
Yes.
As on mine, ye lay 3,500 kilometers of fiber. The records are there. E-government network connecting all district assemblies across the country.
Yes.
Selected post offices, police stations, courts, hospitals, 2 universities, Ghana Metro offices, and NITA offices and so on. You lay 3,000 kilometers of backhaul fiber, one project, and 500 kilometers of last mile fiber. But I know so say yes comparison now for me pedestrian, because governance is a continuum. Niobia and also be a council. Sa network here me I'm going to work on connecting it with Nianita managing. I include Eastern Corridor. Any LTE network na Nita work.
Yes.
Ye be kind no boom. Yes, see a rural telephony network. Yes, see so far you see almost 1,500 sites.
Cell sites.
Cell sites. You see almost 1,500 cell sites since we came. 430 in 2017-2018. And I see 1,010 from 2020 to date. Aka 1,006. Aye beye equipment aye debesi 1,016 you know warehouses musisi a make say. Inti aka skasem kakra. Na ye nyeska o budget ni mu a ye de eba beye. Inti by the end of this year na ye wie sa 2,016 cell sites in addition to 430 na ya ye no. To put it into perspective, NDC 8 years almost 78
cell sites.
78 cell sites maka and almost pa challenge.
And for be a own name no cell site na ye den what do they do? And
also ana ye train towers na telecoms companies no ede omo services and nam so aye to me and make calls no. NDC 2017 to 2009 to 2016, almost 78. Ekufu-Addo Bawumia aban 2017 to date, you see 1,440. There's no basis for comparison because there's a need which needs to be met. And yansusu yabetwa ni omo ye so. Now why you say digital interventions, mobile money interoperability, online learning, e-commerce, omo edi agro wo Facebook, omo eton niama wo Instagram ni ade. Na obiti ekurabia say na oni networker. How does he engage with this economy? It's not possible. On the onya Ghana ni. Inti ayabaya said say otwe network no ko hono no nsusu enyebi. Even with 2016, you to cover omo ni network ni nyinara. Inti ye ongoing adwuma to say ye ka kwan aban bi ebe o ye kakra. No bi abeto as you to me nyina wie da but yeguso. Inti kakra na we're narrowing the digital divide. Ni nyina ka digital infrastructure na aban aye no. Emu nia he na NDC for ye ya yen ma won credit no.
Data center.
Data center, absolutely critical. Nyomwesi no world class. Yen the cloud overlay ababa betuso. Tina ye one national government cloud. Ye URSU data center no ewo. Me fasa akwenya isu aka atre enyumakuo nyina ewo memu ha se ehu hia se wankasa besi data center. Ye wo world class data center. Ewa ha. Ye URSU for yen services. Obianka baby ada say omunsi data center. I will be the last person to say so. But there were challenges. That been a data center. Some components needed to be repaired and replaced. In fact, mayeno na Kumasi and mama can say more. Maybe pass out.
And not so okay. So someone also Ghana 40. This is information for the Ghanaian people.
Kumasi na ya what is almost see what was supposed to be a disaster recovery site ewo Kumasi. A mirror of data center. Nanso na bibi say wakra data center na ye ni sika e de be ye e be repair ni no mako tu ne ewo Kumasi no e de ma be fix akra de no. Ye decide ye ba ban mu na Kumasi de no enye adwuma. Because the tutubu components e de repair ni asai ewo akra no. Ni esi da bi. Wo hia disaster recovery. Say ye data center enya cyber attack bia. It was said yenya the same equipment, a mirror of it baby near to me edia ama yen systems number up view. And nunti enna, in fact they even started that process and I've said so to commercialize and yemani bi ananita no because abai uka say abai adwuma for enya nunti ne fa won adwuma we are not trained for that. Enti na omo born homodin yire won ho so betumi ahwe yes. But a true baby no na fe eburu won so enti niam ni bi touchma and then there was a backlog of maintenance which needed to be done. Cooling systems na there be a problem and na we are trip or na we are trip. You can't have that in a world class data center. Ya share affixing ni nara. Yes see a new disaster recovery center Kumasi adwuma sisia make say a new cloud government cloud overlay ECG omunya won cyber attack
yes
and you move one systems no koya ene omuso etumi ahye omwadwuma na omaye no mu ekina. Let me repeat it, say governance is a continuum. Ube yebi obi ba baba beto aso no ayebi aka ho no obi nso baba beto aso no ayebi aka ho. And yes, they built the data center. It had challenges. We fixed it. We are still working on it. Yensa eda ho de bia. Enti momo susun kante said ye omo no mba be ye bibi no obi ama me ye hwe. Kakra na omo be ye no. Ye gitum so omo ye bi kakra. Na ye de atra kra from where they left. You build the foundations. Key foundations were built. But mobile money interoperability has nothing to do with our national data center. paperless port has nothing to do with the national data center. National ID.
Yes.
National ID. Estati kufuo empenso. Na maintenance say almost say baumyanya hwe no mo ye.
E omo start with margins group.
And you almost started national ID kufuo na chance.
Everybody knows, but card, the current card, yeah, you usually was started by them.
Miss Remy Bisase, eba ne say. And as someone na musia someone na musha ye can't say ye ba ye re-registration. Mukuti aya to the extent some boycott or parliament. E catch a gun of one na say my uncle Troyendi and your national ID card. Some ampenia pass some more and a mode buyer. And you would then pose obia fa near Momo Shasie now or expanding it to another level. Anna. Wouldn't you be happy about that? And so mo kutia ye ko demonstration mamo boycott parliament fa he kosi he obi akotro ne din krapo a hey ye nyani o memu a ye refi. Have we forgotten so soon? Said the NDC for attack national ID project ne say omon pre ehene ha enya adwuma. Margins project na no mo ye foreigner registration. Now omo ye Ghana registration cards na. I know for a fact say as at the time I buy in the crapo they were going through a procurement process to get a company ebeba be ye national ID no, and their preferred company was not Margins. I mean fancy here. Nyensem nyina na ye ka. So omo kasa me boa. They were going through a procurement process at the time.
You take it over
for national ID no.
For Ghana for the no.
For Ghana card registration, no, they were going through a procurement
and they had settled on another company
which was not Margins.
Yeah, but then how is it possible? Because one of the first things Dr. Bawumia's vice president AAA was to convene a meeting of all the stakeholders on Ghana card. In that meeting, it's not Margins. In the Margins, why was Margins in there?
They had settled on a company which was not Margins. Dr. Bawumia and Frey.
Yes.
And of Frey, all stakeholders. Has nothing to do with what NDC was doing before we came to power. Because baby Kobia EID a critical component, foundational foundation of any digital economy. Who here say electronic ID no. Free President Kufuor time. Na no troka President Kufuor ja hoko ya Kufuor ba mfie nwotwe ye hu ni omo de ye. Troka foreign ade ne de. Na omo efiri ama no ne ba omba beji won card. Na Ghana fo yen Ghana for ye nipa dodo na ye hia sa Ghana card ne ana be na no mu etufa ho me se no mo aye tender bi ya conclude enye Margins na nanka omode ma no inti se yen yakwa Margins aba mo nka so no omode ne ba me de eye me de se Margins ye Ghanaian company na yenya arehemu wo mu some betumi aye se adwuma so yi ama memu nyina ne ye ma won akwanya omonso aye ama ayefe enne amanonefo kra efre won so omonso ma meboa won se adwuma no eyam ya hohoaho say indigenous company ene ye se adwuma no. Was that their first choice? No. In the same vein eyam ya hohoaho say digital property address system Ghanaian company free fanum and a year. What tin someone mo kafa ho ye introduce no. And I know so murefi. And also man kwentia. Did they fight against it?
But is that thing working? A year Juma.
A year Juma pa.
Really?
A year Juma pa.
You use it app no URSU.
So many businesses have been built on that. So many of are anchored on digital property, mobile money interoperability, financial inclusion, EID, a digital address system, a tripod. You need to be able to identify your people.
Yes.
You need to know where they live, who they are. Banks KYC ni ade when ya sa physical identification of where your people are located, it's almost impossible to do it. And until na nkrofo na nka omo tukutumi koje loans ni ade na omo yira. Ni nyina ka ho binti na ma risk ni high na interest rate ni so e was wrong. And ne bank bia or digital address, he knows where you are. So it's provided certainty in the business environment, not just for banks. Utility companies extend a service amawa omo nim baby awo untumi yire. Enti digital property address system eye adwuma pa. Registrar General, I'll give you an example. Me kun share na adwuma ase ewo EKUFUL like.
Yes.
Oko register ewo Registrar Generals na adwuma or Registrar Generals department. Eden a 10 number MI as is the practice.
Yes.
Ena obey fee. Because of filling forms ni nyina de the digital address ni ade nyina ehye mu no. And in the telephone number or why no nya text message. Every Adenta Municipal Assembly say omwe hu say wa register the company na company no wo metropolitan area no. Enti ho na was over between a business operating license be ewo. It will cost him so much. He can pay by mobile money on be sending electronic receipt. One ko Adenta. But because I did the digital address, they share suno NT. They are linked with they send the notification to Adenta say company be register located in your metropolis. Ni details ni. And they contacted him. And okotria permit be also tria electronically. And omode ni certificate ebreno. How were they able to know say Adenta municipal under Adenta municipal metropolitan assembly honor ni businesses no one digital address?
Yeah, but what the Ghanaian people would want to know, for example, they say ebia obi ka so oba besrame na men sending the location. Unze oko Google Maps, you can do that and send the location. Can that be done on the Asasi GPS app?
Opa input digital address no into the search feature of Google Maps. Said because it is linked to Google Maps.
To Google Maps. My integration.
Yes. Inti adwuma de eye bi pa enyumekuo ahoro a omu use who have designed applications with digital address no hundreds.
But is that not why your critics say building that whole Asasi GPS app was somehow superfluous? Because a Jumanka Google Maps ebitimi ayedada.
Pacho Google Maps or wo address. Uko bank now ye KYC.
Yes.
And they ask you to give your residential address. How is Google Maps going to help you with that? How is Google Maps going to determine what your residential address or business address is? It can't. It can identify your location based on satellite, whatever it is, GPS technology. Let me identify your location.
Yes.
Now, again, now betro as your address no ewo will form now will fill in so. Mind you, Ghana card bia there's a place for you to indicate what your digital address
Absolutely.
is. And there's a reason for that. When you're filling any form, passports, whatever, you have to indicate what your digital address is. Oko Bank now apply for a bank account. You have to indicate what your digital address is. Bank now has to be able to locate you. Whatever business you're dealing with needs to know what your address is.
Yes.
Near to me, a designer almost may reach you when they need to. And that is why sir Ejumana is so absolutely critical. And Mr. Ramo, Even to me, I can try say Google Maps. Google Maps is used for all manner of things. But when it comes to identifying the actual address, residential or office location of a human being in this country now, it can't do that. Under our digital address system, every 5 meter square inch of land in this country can be traced. Inti jina ha sisi a mehu aha saying address any gate nano address na different. And that's what makes it unique. Timaye belittle the impact of it. Abua amaya formalize your economy ye but you go so. Inti ene you can run, but yeah, your data no so use. That's one of the problems that I have with Ghana for. Information na yen na ye kita ewa enso yen fa nya adwuma said ye was ye di adwuma. Tinka police fo to say abrochire. But thankfully we are linking all those systems into over 200 police stations yama on high speed internet through this government network here make can once me. I built 3,000 fiber kilometers of fiber. It's very easy for the police to, on that high speed network, no broadband network, no. Type in your digital address, your digital address, now you type what. You should be able to query the digital property address database to identify say asimesi address near na. So I'm a fake one now. You should be able to, with your Ghana card details, no pop up digital address now, or the register and the Ghana card, no much check here who say no one out there manana. Databases no ho. A information where you swa. It is a files is a good shelf swa. Yemi a woman. Intimacy there's a quiet revolution unfolding, and we'll be having a serious conversation about maximizing the use of our data governance, and all of that this year.
This year,
absolutely, we'll be and bringing all multiple stakeholders together. In fact, is it Ochna na? Need a 4-year meeting, but anyway, about data centers.
Oh, okay.
Any cloud computing agencies, well, the regulatory aspects of it. Ube hunsa nkrofo bebre ACC companies with CC data centers. So, well, enti NITA ne the electronic transactions regulator. Matias yes, omo ye regulator first.
They have to regulate the
operator.
space.
So they have to start implementing their regulatory functions. Omo shasia, omo no. To say the NCA.
Sure.
Share electronic communications no. NITA share electronic transactions. To be electronic transaction bia unhia NITA. But ansa na ombe shese adwuma nas na so mo ye sensitization na man for te asienti eno hu komo ni bie eno china. Is it tomorrow? Or china Wednesday?
Or china Tuesday.
Ebi Wednesday.
That should be Wednesday.
Omone impenifo nyina ekodi ewo is a men's Vic Grand.
Okay, that's East Legon.
They're meeting there to discuss cloud computing and nyina. There's no regulatory framework for it in Ghana. They put in place one omone won ekwakodi hu nkomo. Any data centers and so yekwakodi hu enkomo. To data analytics near the idea nyina how to utilize our data. I was saying no so yehwe na yeka because data ne de wo ho. Osha World Bank ne IMF ne manema omo even more accurate information than us about things happening in our own country. But information in our ho. Use omo don ba bebisa na ye de ama wo. No mo de akwa analysis. Ye na ba say yinkom and then we quote World Bank statistics. When we are the primary data source, we have to move beyond that. And the statistical service and so about how to give them access to some of this data, particularly telecoms data. Now, onward to me, use. So na manage about how to give them access to SIM registration data and then so normal to me.
But and only critical because you know, sir, even against the e-levy law no now, which says transfer from a bank account to our mobile money and what's it too. the banks claim say they don't have the data of mobile registration. And they say me account our bank A. Omu nim said the owner of this account in bank A. No one assign only this mobile number. Into me transfer me. If we have this data, why are we keeping it?
We have the data, we are not using it. No bank, not even the Bank of Ghana, has come to ask.
Really?
Yes. The data, yes, in registration, the data never. What use are we putting to it? GRA baby. So we are working on the modalities of how they can have access, because GRA the data will also the money.
Yeah, but the banks,
no
government
bank has come to ask.
Honorable, government exists to solve problems. So what is a moment for a complaining? Why do you wait for the banks to come and ask? Because the banks now are largely private banks. Omono, it's in their interest on better tier amount for seeker to boost more profit margins. And they say a buy person will solve a problem. You push the data on them, take it and implement it. Because it's a no-brainer. Say me am here na was say me name say. Was a bank news and me account and me answer me number, because that's the reason why we queued to go and register. That in our problems we honorable
problem.
Yeah, your problem.
Only baby a solution no. Not one hour.
Meaning say me data ministry no and I say we're in the custody of the communications ministry. Banks is who need me data.
That database is available. Come and access it. Then is who will be ending the lane. No, I have a baby Samia. I am very willing to collaborate and cooperate with any government agency which requires any information that I have control over.
Very well. The other thing they say,
they should come.
They should come
so that we talk. May catch statistical service when your friend said,
Professor.
Ye kunshie mu bi ase na na complaining am se bra na eni hu nkomo enti wa tro me na me ni na ma ye busy me ye me election na ye no awie sisi amenya no ho adaje omra na ye ntena na ye hwe kwan e betumi aboa no
because it's so critical, especially with the banks.
So much data, it's untrue. How are we utilizing it, analyzing it, mining it? Data is the new oil. Niema ebetumi edi ayeno.
But because say new oil tina say o ministry ni so mo fadi na time on ya say mo pese mo time mo bia. But you should forward it to the Bank of Ghana. Data ni niemu. Why should they come in?
To the Bank of Ghana? Confidential information.
Yes.
So it has to be handled under proper protocols.
Sure.
So come and let's sit down and agree on the modalities for you to access the
data.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
But mwankasa mu hu se bibi atochima ewo mwadwuma nimu na eho esafua ewo meme ho enti memra ana no anu ye ewo meme ho enti mo ba ma yatena se nia twekwan ebetumi afa so. Why not? It's in my interest to do that because eboa aban adwuma. Enti so omoni mu a me ka kire won. We are available
to
collaborate.
The data is there. Very well.
For them to access it.
Obviously.
Thank you.
Mamenshare job creation under your ministry, because again in our flag bearer statement, he said, say, through digitalization, almost will be to create 1 million jobs. Currently, more criticizing with this digitalization drive.
I don't have the figures offhand, but I can just give you an idea. Yewo Ghana Tech Lab and a Kumasi Business Incubator.
Yes.
Omo wene contract B under e-transform. Eboa ama omwe trainee yemebu. Na enu no
Asempa FM.
Omwe to me a trainee. I'm trying to pull up the figures. I want to.
It is an honorable. My main way in honorable just go through it. Now, you can get the best returns on your investment when you invest with iVest. iVest is a secured fixed-term investment product or modiaba. Na Easyway say iVest way would offer you so much more with a minimum of 5,000 Ghana cedis over a minimum period of 3 months. Usi can be so. In fact, some person will earn more. Then you can increase your earnings by investing over a maximum period of 12 months. When you are investing, invest right and invest wisely. Open an iVest account today and invest your way to massive wealth. iVest, real value for real people. Uni is winning on 0596 914 843. Now, when I fixed term investment, you do scan it to na what wajimu so bebre enti moma yenhye so Izwe iVest wasem and I make catch them. Syntax tank and so say any open tank pa dia store in sewer. The only tank a syntax tank a strong a science a tough color be a ope ye be ama guarantees be a here inner layer be a ope double triple and quadruple inner layers ye be a day amount fa ho ne adea uhia. In fact, no matter your water needs, Syntex has got you sorted. You have over 300 agents nationwide. Your number, if you want to order a tank afre, 0244 335 168. 0244 335 168. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. Ain't mama in United so and then so Consolidated Bank Ghana. Say omudi payday loan aba na sa we salaried worker we will be a yetua o ka bosome na wo hia financial support wo hia skapa e twa wo ho even before your next paycheck wo hia quick funds to solve urgent financial needs because CBG's payday loan is your answer. You can access as much as 85% of your monthly salary in advance. In the bit amount 85% of your monthly salary in advance. Near amount a 30-day window for you to repay. Secure as much as 20,000 Ghana cedis in just 2 business days. In just 2 business days, no, you be about 20,000 Ghana cedis. The best part, no, and it's you don't need a collateral. In when we here, so they collateral be a ebeko akwakoto. You amount 20,000 Ghana cedis in just 2 business days. If you visit any of our 114 branches nationwide or kindly reach out to our contact center 0302 216 000. T's and C Supply, CBG. We stand with you. We are buying you and what then payday loan, CBG, the as much as 20,000 Ghana. You can access that in 2 business days. Near amount 30 days window. I'm out here then kakran. Into motion and so am I. Honorable Onsaka.
I am Nsaka.
Good.
Accra Digital Center.
Yeah, Accra Digital Center, sure.
Yeah, wo Ghana Tech Lab. Accra Digital Center Nanka Sansusu trainee and Kofu.
Yes.
Some in partnership with others. I should let them come and tell their success story there. Yet that NDC Fuasi say Omusi Accra Digital Center.
Sure.
Ebiano November 2016.
Yes.
Nema akandia na wohwe mfoni na as a computers esi ho ni tables esi ho nyina mo ko han. Eno mo de yes launch no. Omoye
launch no. Launch na Dr. Manebu Amane former President Mahama ko Eco Kate Eco Commission project no. Omo ko rent computers no.
Sa.
Eno mo ye omo sign de ko.
Omo sign de ko.
Indi mobile na eden na mo use.
Hwini. Yeah, by another keto.
But how is that possible?
I'm telling you.
Omo rent saying.
Media me man ko to hwe wo hono. Maybe. Me de minim.
Okay.
Maybe. Omo free hono no obi ko wi a sa niema. Because as at the time, and I have the pictures, I'll send them to you. As at the time, about 2017, nada keto NC hono. Roofs were leaking, the floors were coming apart, walls were falling off at the seams.
That was just 2 months after the collapse.
Thank you. Mesewo, I'll show you the pictures. MEF Frere contractor, who was a good friend of mine, said, Madam Pesa. Kona kosiesi niema na koso asese wo hono but he did at his own cost. There was no connection to internet or electricity there. at the time you take it over. 12 units na no. Maybe main one na offices ni wo and no one na light wo. Nyaka ni nara. No connection to internet or electricity. Yai ni ababe ye. Na no so me hwe ne se e aban adwapade. To won hwe mezi ho me say. We equipped it. We connected it to a high-speed internet. Not a single company na wo ho no mo. As of today I can say 40 companies ena a war operative free Accra Digital Center ho no mo. Not a single person had been trained there as at the timer yen take it over. To date, onward training over 30,000 people. A create 3,108 digital jobs. And 315 ancillary jobs. Ewo sa sector. Yama ye ni kuhu. Na yama ye mebu no digital skills. They can do even more by creating jobs for themselves. Yewo Ghana Tech Lab. Ewo ho no me kan say omo wene anya hanam kokano. Omo wene international competitive bid bi. Omo ni Kumase incubator. Ena wene sa bid no. Enti yewo M Lab ene iHub. Ayo ho no omo di training enkrofo. Fee 2017 Omo Ghana Tech Lab no supported 656 startups. Eye young entrepreneurs omo ideas omo bua won ni said yombesi ahyehyehye omo ideas no. Ye training 21,316 youth ewo different digital programs ewo Accra Digital Center no emu. Baby ewiase ekoi. Ye mebun te ha no mu su si ye ni adwuma ya. Adwuma bebre wo ho, but you have to have the right skills to access it. Ewie ya ansa na meba ha na me ne New World Bank Country Director no edi nkomo obe pay courtesy call ewo me ho na ni edi nkomo. E na ye ka cyber security ho asem. There's a skills shortage globally. Ewo sa sector. Ti eboa ye mebu no munya sa akade no ne esuahu na sa experience ne sa skills na they can walk into a job today and now make us say yene Smart Africa Digital Academy ye training bi Kofi Annan ICT Center I think they're training up to 10,000 youths ewo cloud computing, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and it's many nyina. Amazon Web Services, and a partner won no more aye. Uwie training na edwuma wo ho ema. Obetna Ghana heya aye edwuma no ama won ne atua wo in foreign exchange. Na wa ode abo obra. It's possible. Say mampeni abedi achire yem flag bearer e can say we can create 1 million jobs for our youth through digital skills now. I believe it. Na o share yen demographic dividend na. Africa ye wo mebun bebre esin wiase afa na nyina. Europe ni America any Asia kra. Omwanyi many of their workers no ben retirement age. Almost so enwo kese. Nti ase omo ase ehye. Inti mebu na ebeye adwuma a support omo retire no. They don't have the numbers. Inti awase omo import mebu no eba every baby ebeye se adwuma no. Where are they going to get those skills from? You have the Americas, South Americas competing for that. Certain parts of Asia are competing for that. Africa is a huge opportunity just waiting. Inti debia minya platform bia internationally and nationally na make kasa me say omomomwani nku giving the youth of Africa digital skills. It solves multiple problems. Amamfo a visa akwa agutira kwa akoye adwuma nyina yi utibetumi atena Ghana heya $80 uwo the right skills uye adwuma virtually online. and who he has obefa esre so no akwakwo wu ewo eposo Morocco ana bibi ewo because you want to get to Europe tena but get the right skills. And I'm excited say why eno they focus because you who potential artificial intelligence, cloud computing, machine learning, data analytics, cyber security, so many other avenues opportunities no Google cyber security jobs today sesia open vacancies eba all over the world, and our data analytics, quantum computing, you name it. And to make once am I passionate. Akramaye excited because we don't have to have this scourge of youth unemployment. So you better focus on digital skills. No biana ewo interest ewo, but me I'm a young person there ekasa me say look into this direction.
Yeah.
You will get a secure future. You will get your own jobs. Na nya ban and epe adwuma yi amawu.
Well, because of Yemren into your CFNED, I wanted to ask you this question. Sir, you've been Minister Communications for 7 years. If the president had called you, sir, or mount two options, choose one, whether Odi Ejuma Nebetoa Mubi Ababe replace you and answer Obetoa Swa, Kaobefadi. You
don't have that luxury.
No, me say assuming without admitting. Say or mouse are two options now.
Or mommy alternative.
Because there are colleague ministers or more walking to the president say, my brain, I've done my best. Juma and Farmer Obi Fofo. Would you have contemplated this?
I have never thought about it because memory. We serve at the president's pleasure.
Sure.
Or can say mo why I did. Na me pese ukona Obi Fofo ebeye ejumeya. Unwi uniya udanasi se empo 16 million Ghanaians nyina 32 million Ghanaians nyina oyi se wo kona kohwe sa ministry ha emami no se enne ko no be from mameya. Thank him for the opportunity to serve and move on. Another door will definitely open for you to also help with the development of your country. I like my sector because I'm not boring. Adia zenyina bibi fufroba. Enti utrawa ejuma bebre so wo I was say yeah but anyame kwa na metumi aye. Enti so osi ochina odi obi fufro eba. Meda na se o ma me sa akwanya no.
But you are not tired, at least you have the
me de ye fra me honam pa ye fra me honam pa adwuma. Ebi ni hone kura na me amekope. I do a few things in public and in private.
In private.
Me wo and I mean can was ubesramia.
Me baby
ubesramia. Metro one of my retirement jobs.
Oh, okay.
Once be doing one dance.
Oh, okay. Okay. But your seat in Ablekuma West seems to be under threat.
I don't think so.
Oh, you think so?
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been driving. Constituency. I've been driving around and me huge billboards of Reverend needing the saying Reverend Kwekuado on the contest till the last time, and he's coming back again. I mean, that should send some shivers down your spine, and
but I primaries no. Mrs. Subin constituency.
Yes.
Honor
Eugene entry one, yes. Subin.
I think I saw the largest billboard I've ever seen in my whole life. Online. I ran genogram in Kennedy. Said no contested primaries. Cra. I'm say we need third cra. Nya billboard net to about. The urban nso de ni mu pa.
Kwekuado, Reverend.
The urban no here, e dey wa. Me say me meet toward day because Ablekuma West wo ni madwuma amaye wo time. Okwadua.
No way in America.
No way in America too. Ono ankasa nim say he has an uphill task. Billboard. Any other to other.
But o gap, o winning margin, say a sort, and I say you don't see that to be a worry.
This is my 3rd term.
Yes.
I'm going for my 4th.
Your
term.
4th term.
Watch this space. Watch it closely. Your primary is here. I granted no be contesting. Was you to me then we win here and I'm see you I ground for. Why any parliamentary candidate?
URSULA OWUSU-EKUFUL.
Thank you. Come 7th January
2025.
I'll be sworn in as the MP for Ablikuma West.
And hopefully that will be your final term in Parliament.
You do whatever.
Reverend Kwekuado.
No banner no here.
Reverend Kwekuado.
Who is he?
Reverend Kwekuado. Who's my bond name and some?
Who is he? Man who can do nali. Pamcho veteran American cancer. Pamcho Monte.
Reverend Kwekuado.
Be a water. No banner no here.
A honey won't.
No banner here.
My final question to you now, Yajao Kwai Mowako. Do you? Oh, Nasa Nenye, the only Nkoma you will come back. Do you relish becoming Vice President of Ghana?
Relish?
Mm-hmm.
I don't plan my future.
How so? But that's not a good statement to
my
make.
Life, because my life and times are in the hands of God.
Yeah, but you still have to plan.
Eradi. Anything.
Ne Eradi ankasa kra wo plan. Eradi na wo can all plan. Also, I know the plans concerning you to bring you to absolutely.
Thank you. Intinya dia me pe. Ne Eradi epe. Ewo me mabrabe mu.
Yes.
Enu na bebe mu. Into wherever the Lord places me, at whichever point in time, me danase. Mambisa se ejuma inti ebe ene say. Inti anya me plans or now what I relish or what I want. My life and times are in the hands of the living God. That's your answer.
But you've heard say your name is making rounds in potential running mates.
And so near radio can't find me home.
But obi hold to make casa who resist you because obi media derby, media vice president there derby. Obi to make casa.
Wafe. Near radio can't find me home. And no.
And a baby.
Minim se radio cansa afa me ho. Timem pepre me ho. En konko me ho en so ho edaye.
But sometimes you have to work towards the end you seek. In this case, unim political game, you have to be doing the right things to get you there. Are you doing that? And I say, no, ote wasa akwase emrameto.
Me see the radio can fa me ho.
Ebebem.
Say nepa. I don't have to lift a finger. Ebeba. Yes. Me life sa na mabo me bro. Baby, I didn't be I give whatever you may be. I'm a warrior, no
100%,
100+%. Me,
a simple FM.
And I'm a no so a baby other opportunities. Emma me kopre. Nanso enya to me na so se me nya me yam eye ni ye erade adomunti.
A Baumia ESLA ticket can win the MPP the election. No.
Oh, ESLA will enhance anybody's opportunities anywhere. Same wa wafa. Erade adumti. Kunim die nkwa. Wo obi se me wa wafa. Me ne wo ye adwuma bia. Erade adumti se de me sidi me honam nyina agimu nti. Ebesi me no mienu nyina yi. But me de mesre. Ye nyai papa no. Ni ekos ni bi metan.
Sir.
Ye nyai no. No nwa nkasa mfanani entofo. Enya ne pensem ni hwehwemu. Na onyi oni a o feel se obetumi ene na aye adwuma.
Asempa FM.
Na nkunimdi aye ndia. Na waboa no na adwuma ye enu
2020.
Yes.
2024 rather. But you've also heard, because I say Umfi Ashanti region, Meboa, Ufi Eastern region. You've heard say this time I was say
Uni baby I'm free. Who bazam tro baby I'm free.
Okay, Mpacho catch him.
Bazam tro.
Me meaning Matisse Ufri Achim, maybe say Ufri Kwewu, maybe say I don't know.
Me okani mapa.
Akani.
Me okani mapa. Infantil.
Okay.
Achim wom.
Ewum.
Kwewu.
Ewum.
Bono. Ewum. Bono no nso me free brekum. Aye nchi efi asante. There you have it.
You tick all the boxes on.
Say no kwa de a. Enko mo ni how. Nanso media. Me see enyai papa no.
Yes.
Na ono ankasa choose there. I don't think baby offering should even be a factor.
Yeah, but it should. I mean, looking at our kind of politics, no, it should.
Yeah, well, maybe it should.
Yeah.
But nipa bet me na aye adwuma. Amang kunimdie.
Absolutely.
Aye odia. Ene aye party ne dia no. Eno na wo se wo hwe.
Yeah.
Enti choka nyina ye de ha no. Munya no.
Now, ono are making a decision.
Making a decision. Media baby omdim be kwa go wie bia. Ma ye krado se me som me man. Na masom me party nso. Enti wherever I find myself, I'm willing to contribute 120, 50, 200%. But my life and times are in the hands of the
living
Lord.
God.
Na nyewa kan fa me ho nso so. Eno ene bebe.
Honorable Mayor Nasi, we'll get you back one more time near Science Wedding Comobio. Why? And we'll look at the other things. Why?
Meda was so for opportunity, yeah.
Mate.
Odia mamena. Mene wetie for abedi enkomo. It's always a pleasure.
A pleasure. Honorable Restructuring OWUSU-EKUFUL, MP for Ablekuma West and Minister Communications and Digitalization. She's been a cabinet minister for the past 7 years and Matisi Eneno AD Enkomo. Yenko Tiewe Emra